Okay guys, so I have the ROG Ally and the new AOKZOE A1 Pro with the 7840U, and you could carry around a giant battery bank like this, just to make sure that you're able to game for an extra long time. You can even get like a smaller power bank, something like this, 25,000 milliamps. But I think that we should really be able to take these portable devices on the go without having to carry around a battery bank like this or like this. So today we're going to be doing a battery test between these two devices to see what kind of battery life we can expect from these two devices. So I'm going to be at 25 watts on both of these devices. That's the turbo mode on the ROG Ally, and 25 watts TDP set on the AOKZOE A1 Pro. I have my clock here. I'm going to unplug both of these devices here, start the stopwatch, and now this is going to continue to run for the entirety of this test. So even if I have to like cut out something because it's going to be a very long test, this clock will still be going with the current time that I am at the test. So now we have full battery. Let's get into the test and let's see what type of battery life we can get between these two devices. Okay, so the first game we're going to be testing is Dirt 5. We're going to run the benchmark, play the game, and see how the battery life is after this first test. So let's get into it. Also, one thing I will note is that both of the devices are at 50% screen brightness, and the ROG Ally is set to 60 Hertz mode on the display, just so that it's even as far as the display refresh rate between these two. Okay, so the benchmark is finished, and the AOKZOE A1 Pro is at 91% battery, and the ROG Ally is saying that it's at 97% battery. So after this first benchmark, the ROG Ally actually is winning. So that's interesting to see. I will say that the performance on the AOKZOE A1 Pro is much better in this benchmark, getting 82 FPS on average versus 60 FPS on average on the ROG Ally. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into the next benchmark and continue this battery test. Okay, so in the next test now, we're about 11 minutes into the overall benchmark. One thing I will note before we go any further is that it looked like the ROG Ally defaulted to the 15 watt profile when it was unplugged. So it was at 15 watts for that first Dirt 5 benchmark. We're gonna circle back around and do the benchmarks second round, and we will put the AOKZOE A1 Pro in 15 watts for that second round of benchmarking. We're gonna do Dirt 5 again, and we're gonna put the AOKZOE A1 Pro in 15 watts just to sort of even it out. Just wanted to make that known. That's definitely on me, but the test is still going. We're gonna do a few rounds, and we're definitely gonna try to even it out with the performance. We are definitely on the 25 watt TDP now. So for this test and onward, we're gonna be in 25 watts and continuing this battery test. So let's test the Cyberpunk benchmark here. Okay, so settings are matched. We are at native resolution, low settings with FSR set to balance. So 1080p low settings, FSR balanced. 1200p low settings, FSR balanced. Let's run the benchmark. Okay, so the benchmark is finished. Pretty similar performance here. We have 47 average FPS on the ROG Ally and 48 average FPS on the A1 Pro. I will say that the minimum is a little bit higher on the A1 Pro, but I am impressed by both these devices in Cyberpunk at native resolution. So yeah, pretty impressed here. No complaints. Now the battery life is getting a little bit closer now. We are at 83% on the A1 Pro and 84% on the ROG Ally. So it looks like that that one benchmark, we was at 15 watts, only gave it a slight advantage. Don't worry, like I said, we're going to do this a few rounds, and on the next round, we are going to make sure that the A1 Pro is at 15 watts just to make this even. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into the next benchmark and keep this battery test going. Okay, so the next benchmark we're going to be doing is Returnal. I will say that it looks like the battery life is now evening out. So we are starting this test at 81% on both devices. I don't know if you can see that, but we are at 81% battery here, and also at, well, 80 now. The ROG Ally really starts dying quickly. 80% battery. So we're about 80% on both of these devices going into this third benchmark. So let's see how they hold up. Low settings FSR set to performance. So it should be a pretty even match in terms of the power that's required to run it. Okay, so the Returnal benchmark is finished. Pretty even performance, 41 average FPS, 42 average FPS, 41 average FPS. Battery is now currently at 78 on the A1 Pro and 74 on the ROG Ally. So it's starting to pull ahead right now. So let's continue it. Let's go into the second round of testing. We're gonna run these games back, do the benchmarks. We're gonna do Dirt 5 again, like I said, at 15 watts on the A1 Pro, just to sort of even out the test. And then we're going to go back to doing all the games after that at 25 watts again. So let's get into the second round, and we're gonna run Dirt 5 for a second time. All right, so we're back in Dirt 5, and just so we're clear, I'm going to be setting the TDP on the A1 Pro to 15 watts just for this test, just so we can sort of even it out from that first test when the ROG Ally did go back to 15 watts. So in this second round, I'm going to be running the ROG Ally now at 25 watts and the A1 Pro at 15 watts, just to sort of make up that discrepancy in the wattage. So I didn't change any of the graphics settings. It's still going to be at native resolution, low settings. The only thing I changed was the TDP on the A1 Pro to 15 watts. Okay, so the second round of the Dirt 5 benchmark is finished. The A1 Pro got 63 FPS, which is about 3 frames better than the ROG Ally at 15 watts. The ROG Ally was getting 60 FPS. So this is about 5% better in this benchmark at 15 watts, so not bad. Also, the ROG Ally got 75 FPS with 25 watts versus above 80 on the A1 Pro. So you see a slight performance difference. The A1 Pro is doing slightly better at 15 and 25 watts. So after this second round of testing, the ROG Ally is now at 65 watts, 61%, sorry, and the A1 Pro is at 72%. So it looks like this one round of 15 watts is really, helping the A1 Pro. But as I promised, only going to be at 15 watts for this one test. Now we're going back up to 25 watts for the remainder of these tests here. So let's get into the next round. We're going to run Cyberpunk again for the second round and continue this battery test. Okay, so we're just over 30 minutes into the test. We're going to run the second round of the Cyberpunk benchmark. Just so everyone knows, we are still at 25 watts on both of these devices. Just so we know we are 25 watts on both of these devices. We're going to run the Cyberpunk benchmark again and, continue this battery test. Okay, second round of Cyberpunk benchmark is finished. We're getting an average of 53 FPS on the A1 Pro and an average of 50 on the ROG Ally. I believe that's better than the first test. So I guess these devices are warming up and they're not shy anymore, so they're performing better. But yeah, so second round of Cyberpunk is now done. Still at 25 watts. Now the A1 Pro is really pulling ahead. We are currently at 67% battery. You can see that up here, 67% battery life, and the ROG Ally is pretty much halfway through its battery right now. It's exactly 50%. So that's a difference of 17% right now on the battery. So we're still in the second round. We're going to test Returnal, and then we'll move on to the third round of testing. But it's not looking good for the ROG Ally right now. Is already at half battery capacity, 50% versus almost 70% on the on the A1 Pro. Okay, the second round of Returnal testing, same settings, 1080p, low settings, FSR set to performance. Let's run the second round and see where we stand on our battery life. Okay, so second round of Returnal testing is complete. Same performance, we're getting around 42, 41 average FPS. So our performance isn't really degrading here. We are about 41 minutes into the test. The ROG Ally is now at 40%. So looks like it lost around 10% on that test. And the A1 Pro is at 61%. So it lost around 7 or 8% on that test. So we're into like the last half of our battery life here, 40% versus 61% here. So now let's get into the third round of our benchmark and testing, and continue to test this battery life and see what we can come up with. All right, so moving into the third round of our battery testing here, just so we're on the same page. We are still at 25 watts on both of these devices here, so still at 25 watts. So now let's get into the third round of our benchmarking here. Okay, so the second round, or the third round I should say, of the benchmarking for Dirt 5 is now ended. We're still getting better performance on the A1 Pro, so around 6 frames, 81 average FPS versus 74 average FPS. There's not something you're really gonna notice, but it is something to point out. Performance is holding up. I will say battery life isn't looking so good on the ROG Ally. We are now into our last third of battery life, so we're under 30%. We're at 27% right now, and the A1 Pro is holding up at 59% battery life. So the ROG Ally is really on its last sort of leg of battery life. We're gonna keep going, and we're gonna see how these things end up. Okay, so on to our third round of Cyberpunk 2077 testing. We're right around 50 minutes into the battery life test, and we're gonna run the benchmark again. Like I said, always same settings, 1080p, low settings, FSR set to balance, 1080p, low settings, FSR set to balance. I'm gonna show the TDP here again, just so there's no accusations of any sort of foul play in the comments, just so you guys can see we are at 25 watts on both of these devices. So let's run the benchmark and continue this test. So as we start this benchmark, I will note that the ROG Ally is at 22% battery life, so it's coming down to that last quarter of battery life, and the A1 Pro is at surprisingly 52% battery life. I'm actually very surprised. Like it feels like it shouldn't be that high, but it's at 52% battery life right now. So it's not looking so good for the ROG Ally. It's like such a big gap that I feel like people won't believe the results, but I don't know. I've been running this test non-stop for almost an hour now, and this is the results here. So we're gonna keep running and see how it turns out. All right, so the third round of our Cyberpunk testing is now done. Performance is holding up. still you know, in the 50s, low 50s on average, 52, 53 average FPS on Cyberpunk. So yeah, that's the end of our third round. Now let's run another round. I wasn't even expecting to get this far, so let's run a fourth round and, you know, just keep going until one of these devices, you know, gives up. So running a fourth round, let's get into it. Okay, guys, sorry about that. We're actually still in the third round. We're gonna run the Returnal benchmark. This is the third round. I know I said the fourth round, but we're actually still in the third round. We're gonna run the Returnal benchmark here. We're almost at the hour mark, and the ROG Ally is really struggling here at 12%, and the A1 Pro is still at 46% battery life. This is this is very interesting. It's like I did not expect this battery to still be so high. So, but I'm interested just as you guys are. But yeah, so it's not looking like the ROG Ally is going to make it to a fourth round. It is currently at 11% battery life going into the end of the third round of testing here. Okay, so now we finished the third round of testing on A1 Pro and ROG Ally. ROG Ally is really struggling now. We're at 7% battery life. Performance seems to have dipped a little bit as well, so at 38 average FPS versus 43. So just for reference, this has been like 42 the entire time, and the ROG Ally was always 41 average. So now we're out down to 38, but it makes sense because this battery is pretty much on its way out at 7%, when the A1 Pro is still at 40%, which is very I don't even believe it. I know you guys are watching it, you probably think, oh, this guy is playing. I don't even believe the battery. Like 43% is kind of crazy. Now I'm getting the low battery warning on the ROG Ally. I don't want to push the battery too far here, but we got to do it. We got to do it for science. We're going into the fourth round. Maybe we'll get to see the Dirt 5 benchmark, or maybe it will die in that benchmark. So I don't know. We're doing this for science, you guys. If I break my ROG Ally, if the battery explodes because it's doing too much, then we know what it can take, and it's for science. Anyway, going into the fourth round of testing here. So over an hour here. So we have confirmed that the ROG Ally can last for more than an hour. But now let's go into the next benchmark and see how long it can last in the fourth round here. All right, you guys, the ROG Ally is on its last legs here. We are at 3% battery life. This is the fourth round, but we're gonna run the benchmark until one of these devices gives up. So let's go for it. The A1 Pro is still at 40% battery life. I'm not even sure that is correct. I don't even know how that's possible. It's still at 40% battery life. So, oh, hold up, you guys. Write that time down. It was at around 1 hour and 3 minutes. The ROG Ally finally gave up on us. It's finally resting in peace here. So around 1 hour and 3 minutes for the ROG Ally, and the A1 Pro is still going strong. So just for reference, we were at 25 watts for, I think, we were at 25 watts for every test besides the first round of Dirt 5, which was at 15 watts. But then we dropped the AOKZOE A1 Pro to 15 watts for one round of the Dirt 5 test. But just so you guys know, we are at 25 watts for every other test besides one. So that would sort of even it out. And right now we are at 39% battery life on the A1 Pro. It's looking like this could go for, like, I guess another 30 minutes, because you know that 50% more battery size. So this is looking strong. Like, it's at 40%. So this could probably go another 30 minutes maybe. I'm gonna keep running it, and see what it can do. But the ROG Ally RIP at 25 watts, it's going to give you about an hour battery life. We was at 15 watts for one round of testing, so probably if it was at 25 watts for every single game, it probably would give you just a few less minutes. So I'll say an hour battery life from the ROG Ally, but the A1 Pro is still going strong. All right, so the Dirt 5 benchmark is now finished on the A1 Pro, and we're gonna continue the fourth round. We're gonna do the fourth round, and then we'll call it a day, and we'll see how much battery life it has after the fourth round, and how much time has been. Okay, so fourth round of Cyberpunk 2077 battery testing. Same settings as always, 1080p, low settings, FSR set to balanced. Let's run the benchmark, keep it going. We are now at around 1 hour and 10 minutes, where we still have around 34% battery to go. So you can see there, we still have around 34% battery life remaining. Fourth round Cyberpunk benchmark is now done. Performance is holding up, but as expected, we still have around 1/3 battery capacity, so still getting around 53 average FPS. Now let's move on to the fourth round of the Returnal benchmark. Returnal benchmarking, and we are still at around 30% battery life, as you can see there. So at 28% battery life, so this thing is good and strong. At this point, I guess let's just keep it going to see just how long this thing will last. Just so if you're still watching at this point, we are still at 25 watts, just so you don't think there's any funny business going on. So yeah, let's keep it going into the fifth round. This is not what I didn't expect it to go this long. So anyway, let's keep it going. Round 5. I really want to stress that I am not lowering the TDP to extend the battery life in any way. So we're still running this at 25 watts, and I will not be lowering the TDP at any point. I just want to keep stressing that, just in case somebody comes in the comments saying, "Oh, you tried to cheat, you tried to cheat." I have no reason to cheat. I don't get paid for this. But yeah, we are now at 1 hour and 20 minutes, and the battery is at 24%. So still have a quarter battery life on the A1 Pro here. Okay, so fifth round of Dirt 5 just finished. We're starting to see a slight diminishing performance here. So we get 66 average FPS, but we are still at 21% battery life. So we're at hour and 23 minutes with still 21% battery life. Now let's move on to Cyberpunk for the fifth round of benchmarking. All right, so fifth round of Cyberpunk 2077 testing has ended. Performance is, still holding solid, 53 average FPS, so it's consistent, even though now we are at 17% battery life, as you can see there, 17%, and we just passed the hour and 25 minute mark, so we're at hour and 26. In the fifth round, let's move on to Returnal, fifth round of benchmarking. All right, fifth round of Returnal testing. We're still at 1080p, low settings, still at 25 watts for anyone that's still wondering or even still watching. Yeah, fifth round. Let's get into it. Run the benchmark. Okay, so Returnal fifth round benchmark is now complete. Performance holding strong at 40, 2 average FPS. We are now at 13% battery life, and we just crossed the 1 hour and 30 minute mark. So it's looking good. Now, I guess we're going into the sixth round. Let's keep it going and go into the sixth round of benchmarking. Let's get it. Okay, so we're into the sixth round of testing now. Battery is finally at 10%, just got the 10% warning, as you can see here. If you can see that, battery is at 10%, still at 25 watts for everyone watching at home. And we are now in our sixth round of benchmarking and testing. Dirt 5, we are now at 10%. So it looks like this may be our last round of testing, but we are on the sixth round of testing right now. All right, so as we run our sixth round benchmark here, we are, past the 1 hour and 30-minute mark. So this is more than I actually expected, but we are now at 9% battery life. So this is the point where you would probably stop playing because you don't really want to push your battery, past like single digit percentages. But for science, we're going to keep it going and see if we can finish out the sixth round of benchmarking and battery testing. Okay, so we just finished the sixth round of benchmarking for Dirt 5. We are now getting the looks like the 5% warning, and yep, we're right there at 5%. But we got to be fair. We got to run it all the way. We got to run it all the way until it's nothing left. So sixth round, gonna see if we can get to the Cyberpunk benchmark. Sixth round of testing. Let's keep it going. Okay, it looks like the A1 Pro just finally took his last breath at around 1 hour and 38 minutes. So here you have it. That's around an hour and 30 minutes more than, I mean, not an hour and 30 minutes. That's around 30 minutes more than the ROG Ally. So yeah, that's the test. The A1 Pro is finally dead here. No more life left in it. It made it to an hour and 38 minutes. So that's 25 watts. At 15 watts, you probably be hitting 2 hours. So that's good to see. Anyway, if you made it to this point in the video, comment. If you made it to this point in the video, comment no SD card, because I haven't put an SD card in my A1 Pro yet. I do have an SD card in my ROG Ally, still working, hasn't died on me yet. But comment no SD card if you made it to this point in the video, and you'll be entered to win a special prize. So yeah, I'm gonna head out. This is a long one, so it may take a while for me to edit it, but you won't know that. So anyway, leave a comment down below what you want to see next, and I'm gonna go charge these two devices. Hopefully the batteries are not completely dead on me, but we should be good to go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. Give me a comment of what I should do next, because I'm all out of ideas and I want to steal your ideas and make a video. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna head out. I got a lot of editing to do, and peace.